do when I don't see anything good around me, and that is relog. If you relog, you can reset the entire instance, assuming no one else is there on the planet with you. And that could possibly save you a lot of time in finding good rocks. Because basically, you can only roll so fast, but if you relog, basically the entire scanner area is now completely reset to you, usually. Maybe we got unlucky here. I'm not sure if it completely reset. But, okay. Oh, we see a lot of signals over here. Let's head on over. Oh, that might be a POI. So if you look, it looks like there's a double line at the very top of the scanner. That indicates it's a nav beacon, which is some sort of crashed ship. Sometimes that'll have some interesting commodities, or maybe some data. So we'll head over there. I usually don't, but in the interest of curiosity, let's head on over there and see what we find. One of the things also that you can do to speed up your rolling is to hop and use your thrusters that help you go upwards. Basically, bouncing up and down on this slightly rocky and hilly terrain will slow you down quite a bit. You won't actually go at your maximum speed, even if you're at 4 pips to engines. So one of the ways that you can speed up and also get some more vision on things, it'll flip you around, is if you do some hopping. And timing that hopping so that it's actually helpful and you're not just hopping in space, in place, is good. But let's see. We get a running start and then we do a little hop. Okay, so it's starting to resolve this waypoint, and it does indeed look like a crashed ship or a crashed nav beacon. Okay, some skimmers. So these skimmers, they could be wanted or not, but if you trespass on the zone that this nav beacon's at, they will start shooting at you. So there's a little range at which you enter into, and it will start the skimmer will start shooting at you. And you can see that range by the red wall that's on the radar right there. If I cross over into that, the skimmer might start shooting at me. Now, I don't really want to shoot at this guy because he's clean, he's not wanted, and so if I start shooting at him, I'm going to get a bounty in the system. And it may not be a long bounty, it may be like a few minute bounty, but I don't want to really test that. I think that I'd rather skip over this and live with not actually getting this stuff there. So I see some other signals here, and I'm going to head to those instead. I think that looks like an outcrop. We'll head on over there and see what we find. Let's hop over here. It's getting a little hilly. Maybe we could save a little time. One of the problems with the control of the SRV is that the wheel axles aren't completely rigid around both sides of the center of mass of the SRV. And so when you end up stopping suddenly, it'll flip you around your center of mass, and you'll end up doing a 180. And I don't know if that was intentional design by the devs or not, but the SRV is inherently unstable around its center of mass, rolling-wise. So it's a little painful at times to control, and you have to be careful. So what we have here actually is indeed an outcrop, but if you look carefully, there's also a mesordite signal hiding under it. There's the single line and then the double line. The double line's narrower, so that the outcrop's closer, but there's going to be a mesordite behind this, so we need to be careful not to forget about that. Let's see, the outcrop gives us iron and nickel. I got plenty of that. Let's move on. Let's head on over. There's some ships in the distance here, you can see. Not sure what they're doing. Well, it was in targeting range. I guess it isn't now. So let's see if this mesordite gives us anything. Yeah, this is very hilly terrain. I've found personally that the hilly terrain gives more density of rocks, but that could be anecdotal. Aha! Well, we're lucky. We just found some polonium in a mesorodite, and some molybdenum. Molybdenum is also fairly rare. Zinc is also fairly uncommon. I think I have a lot of molybdenum and polonium. I'll check. If you go to materials and you can filter to just elements, you can check what you have. And usually I limit myself, because we have 1,000 limit on all the materials, I limit myself to about 30 of any one material. Maybe a little less if I know I don't want any. 30 if it's fairly rare and I want more. Maybe higher if I really, really think I'll need it in the future. So molybdenum I have 30. And zinc I have 25, which I think is sufficient. So I'll leave those, and I'm going to pick up this polonium, which I really want. And actually, you can see that the hull of the polonium and the zinc, they're going down. So there is a finite time span in which you can let these things stay on the ground, just like the materials in space. There's only so long they'll be around. So once you open this rock, you'll want to pick these things up pretty fast. So I'm going to do that, and my cargo scoop turned off, so let's turn it back on. Remember to do that, and roll over and pick up some polonium. And that's just dang lucky, because you can roll around for a long time and not find any polonium. And now here we are. We have 2 polonium. I had 1 polonium before I started. And that is lucky. A 2 polonium is what you need for a level 5 FSD roll. A level 5 FSD roll can roll you up to 45% increased optimized mass. With secondary effects, I think it can roll you up to 50%. And that can give you quite a large FSD boost. For instance, on my Anaconda, which would normally have a 42 light year jump range, I got a 55.5 light year jump range, and that's on a 45% roll. So it can increase your jump range quite considerably. And if you get a bad roll afterwards, you can just reject the roll. You will use the materials, they're not recoverable, but you don't have to apply that new roll. So if I were to try again and I got a much worse roll, it wouldn't matter too much. I could just discard the roll. And let's see, it looks like we have another outcrop up ahead. It's clicking to me, so it's probably not going to be a good one, but we'll see. The outcrops are rather large bulbous rocks. I'm pretty sure it's the one on the right here. Yeah. Iron, nickel, vanadium. Yeah, not really stuff that I want. So anyway, rolling around in the SRV can be time-consuming. Some people have found it very monotonous. Some people find it very relaxing. I kind of like it. I think that it would be best to have a conversation going while you're doing this, and or music, or even a TV show. But you can find a lot of things rolling around on the SRV. A lot of different rocks, a lot of different materials. Different planets have different focuses on what their rare concentrations are. Ahead, the devs have said that there is a detailed surface scanner upgrade that's going to take place that'll let you see when you scan the planet or moon. I guess the moon, because almost none of the planets are actually landable. What concentrations possibly, or at least what rare elements will exist on that planet. Right now, it's kind of anyone's guess until they start roaming around, other than the lists that the engineers give you. So this planet has polonium, but other than polonium and molybdenum, I don't think it has very many other rares. I don't think it has any, actually. So in order to find other rares like arsenic, which is fairly rare, antimony, which is rare, yttrium, you'd have to go to another planet. There's some studies that I'm looking at to see if there's a tie between the type of planet, whether it's metallic or metal rich, and whether that ties to whether it's what materials it gives. I don't know if I found any correlation yet, but if I do, I'll certainly share that. So there's some bronzite crondite up ahead. Let me see if I can find anything else. More bronzite crondite. Actually very close. There's a bronzite crondite. Let's take a look. The bronzite crondite rocks are also fairly bulbous, but they're a little smaller than the outcrops. So yeah, the upgrade I was talking about to the detailed surface scanner will come with the next major point release, which is focused to happen at late July-ish, according to the devs. And a lot of people have been asking for some change to the SRV interaction so that you can have more direction or more success with these rocks. Because at the moment, a lot of people are having a tough time finding these rare materials like polonium. It does take, to build up, for instance, I had some luck. I found about 7 polonium one time in about 3.5 hours. But I would say that's pretty lucky. Some people can go for an hour or two at a time and only find 1 or 2 polonium. And since there's 2 polonium for every roll, that's a lot of effort. For the FSD rolls, which to me are some of the most important and most, if you want to say like for convenience, for benefit, for universal benefit, I think the FSD rolls are probably universal to almost any ship that you'd have, combat or otherwise. You also need 2 chemical manipulators and 2 chemical manipulators and well, the chemical manipulators, well, I remember what the other thing was. In order to get those, you have to kill transport ships. Usually high-level transport ships like Orcas or Type 9s will have them. Sometimes other transport ships, Cobras, Type 6s, Keelbacks might have them. I've had the most luck with Orcas and Type 9s. In an Anarchy system, you can kill them without getting a bounty. Also, if you're doing power play, sometimes the transport ships will be Orcas or Type 9s, so you can get power play merits as well while looking for these chemical manipulators. So right now it looks like I have 2 signals, some bronzite crondite and what looks to be a cache. I'm not sure whether it's a lightly guarded cache or a guarded cache, but if you see this double line that's slightly filled in up higher in the wave scanner, that's a cache. That's going to have commodities rolling around and possibly a material or 2, and there'll also be some skimmers defending it. And the skimmers may or may not be wanted, and so depending on that I'll decide whether I want to attack them. But these are quite far away, and let me see if I can build up some speed and start hovering, because it's really hilly over here and it's slowing me down quite a bit. So one of the keys is to actually get the correct angle once you launch, because as you saw there, I went in the wrong direction. Alright, there we go. So we're passing over a lot of hills by jumping up here. I would recommend going 4 pips to engines. Recovers your boosters, your up thrusters faster, and you can get more distance like that. There's just a lot of time that you can save by hovering like this. So here we can see in the distance, near distance, some of the rocks, and there goes that 180 turn I was talking about. And let's see, so skimmers have popped up. Let's see, they're wanted, so we can attack them. We'll even get a bounty claim for this. So before I go into this fight, and it's not going to be that difficult, but it could be if I have really bad aim, I think it would be recommended to go 4 pips to systems, take reduced damage. You can get 56% reduced damage, 4 pips to systems, and then go 2 pips to weapons and 4 pips to systems. So you can recharge some of your weapons in case you use out your entire capacitor. So now we'll go into this fight, having been prepared, and let's start shooting them. So another problem is it's really hilly here, and so if I'm at the wrong angle on the hill, I won't be able to have the angle to target this guy. So I just want to make sure I have the correct angle. So these guys go down with a few hits. They're not actually that difficult, but if you run out of shields, they will start taking your hull pretty fast, and you will find yourself dead, and that will mean you go back to your ship. You lose, I think, whatever cargo is on your SRV. You won't lose the cargo that's on your ship, and you will actually lose the bounties that are placed on you. It'll be as good as dying normally, without the worries of losing. You won't lose your bounty